Good Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Megan McPherson. We're live in Washington, D.C. this morning ahead of a vote that could have major impacts in northern Minnesota. This morning, senators are weighing a proposal to reopen mining in the Boundary Waters. If passed, it would use the Congressional Review Act to overturn a 20-year ban on copper nickel mining in the Rainy River watershed, which flows into the Boundary Waters. The effort is backed by Republican Representative Pete Stauber, whose district includes northeastern Minnesota. He argues domestic mining is critical for national security and says the ban is costing union jobs. But last night, Senator Tina Smith took to the Senate floor for hours in protest of this measure. Her Democratic colleagues from other states also speaking up in opposition.
Like, how is that America first? It's not. To risk this globally incredible, rare asset that is the Boundary Waters for that, boy, that just seems really short-sighted to me.
I stand here tonight with a mostly gone voice to give voice to all of those people in my home state and states all over this country who feel like what they think doesn't really matter. And I'm here to tell you that it does.
Famous actor and comedian Nick Offerman also weighing in on this debate, sharing his opposition in a post on X. And the National Mining Association sharing this statement in support of the measure, writing, quote, "Securing access to domestic minerals has never been more important. This CRA is a key step for national and economic security." This morning, the clock is ticking to save the Hennepin County Medical Center from closing for good. State lawmakers deep in discussions over how to fund the hospital. Audrey Russo is at HCMC with the latest.
Good morning. HCMC is losing millions of dollars each year and could close in a matter of months if lawmakers don't act by the legislative deadline on May 18th. Now, lawmakers in the House and the Senate have to come to some solution as to what they can do to fix the situation and dig HCMC out of a hole. Let's talk about what the two chambers are proposing here. First, the Senate is proposing raising Hennepin County's sales tax. They want to raise it from 0.15% to 0.25%. The House wants to raise it even higher to a full percent tax. Now, that health care tax would go to HCMC, which treats a large share of low-income patients, and it would also go to other facilities like North Memorial. Now, medical professionals yesterday testified as saying that if HCMC were to close, it would put a big burden on other hospitals and other emergency departments in the area. Now, losing HCMC could also have some financial implications, which business leaders in the area say they are watching. Take a listen.
We want to make sure that something meaningful is done there that helps create the momentum for a successful completion to this session. But I'll say this about our entire hospital system. They're under a great amount of financial stress right now.
Now, raising the sales tax here in Hennepin County has been done before. In fact, a mile away from where I'm standing is Target Field. Back in the mid-2000s, they raised the sales tax in order to get that facility built. Back to you.
Developing at the state capitol, an effort to impeach Governor Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison has failed to advance. Democrats voted against the proposal, led by two members of the Minnesota Freedom Caucus, a conservative group within the GOP. They say both Walz and Ellison need to be held accountable for widespread fraud in state programs. Democrats say the proposal is, quote, stupid and unserious. Developing out of Minneapolis this morning, a veto from Mayor Jacob Frey is heading back to the city council for discussion to reappoint Todd Barnett as Community Safety Commissioner. Barnett was first appointed in 2023, but last week the city council voted 7-6 to deny his reappointment. They said they're disappointed in how his office handled major criminal cases and communication with the city council. The council needs 9 votes to override Frey's veto, and if that happens, Frey would not be able to nominate Barnett again. And according to the attorney's office, Barnett can serve in a holding over role through August 3rd, and if Frey chooses, Barnett could stay on as an interim commissioner after that. The council will revisit the veto next Thursday. This morning in Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers declaring a state of emergency following severe weather the last few days. Take a look at this new video of flooded streets in Milwaukee. The latest round of thunderstorms dumping up to 3 inches of rain last night. Major roads were shut down for hours. Authorities urging drivers to stay off the roads to let crews manage the flooding. And the flooding also impacted Brewers fans last night. The roof at American Family Field leaking water as fans tried to enjoy the game. But things were worse as fans left the stadium. Take a look at this. You can see they were forced to walk through water-covered streets, and cars attempting to drive through all of that ended up getting stranded. The same day, the Senate failed to pass a resolution that would have constrained President Trump's ability to wage war against Iran. The Trump administration said they are pushing to restart negotiations for peace. NBC's Chris Pallone has details from Washington.
Today, the White House is suggesting talks to end the war in Iran will soon resume as Senate Democrats try and fail yet again to shut down President Trump's ability to continue the war. This morning, the White House projecting confidence a deal to end the war with Iran is close.
We feel good about the prospects of a deal.
This even as the Trump administration ratchets up the pressure on the Iranian regime to agree to the president's demands.
This whole thing is really about no nuclear. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force.
The White House putting direct pressure on the Iranian economy, a military blockade of Iran's ports preventing it from exporting oil. The Navy has turned around at least 10 ships since the operation began Monday.
The United States Navy controls the traffic going in and out of the strait because we have real assets and real capabilities. And we're doing this blockade, performing it with less than 10% of America's naval power.
Iran now saying if the U.S. doesn't lift the blockade, it will prevent ships from passing through the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Sea of Oman. It comes as Democrats back in Washington try once again to rein in the president's power to wage war.
The motion is not agreed to.
The latest War Powers resolution vote failing in the Senate, mostly along party lines.
Republicans are going to be held accountable now and in November for their unquestioning support for a war of impulse and illusion.
The War Powers Act of 1973 says the president can act without congressional authorization for 60 days.
My hope is by the time we reach the end of that 60 days, this conflict will be over.
That period is up at the end of April. The White House says negotiations with Iran could restart by the end of the week, likely again in Pakistan. Israel insists any peace deal to end the war in Iran will not include Lebanon, where thousands of Israeli troops are fighting Hezbollah. Late last night, President Trump posted on social media hinting that the leaders of Israel and Lebanon will speak today for the first time in more than 30 years. Ceasefire talks between the two countries started Tuesday. They have not confirmed the president's post. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Today, we're getting our first look at what changes could be coming to Grand Casino Arena. St. Paul's mayor and the Minnesota Wild will unveil new renderings for the $600 million renovation. We know funding is mainly coming from the city and the team. St. Paul will extend the half-cent sales tax, but will not raise property taxes. As for changes, officials say they want to add more locker rooms and facilities for artists and concerts in the event level. A lot of the work would happen on the north side of the building near 5th Street. Listen to this, a Farmington teenager is about to graduate college, but what makes this milestone even more remarkable, she's not even old enough to drive yet. Ella Green's parents knew she was gifted at just 2 years old. By age 9, she was taking college algebra classes. And now at age 14, she'll graduate from Inver Hills Community College next month. Green plans to continue her college education this fall at Normandale. She loves animals and eventually wants to be an ophthalmology surgeon at a zoo.
It is a bit tricky to make friends because usually they think I'm at like a different maturity level, which I guess I technically am, but I kind of blend in, so.
What an amazing accomplishment. Ella is also a diver, plays piano, and is proficient in American Sign Language. Stick with us. More news and weather is coming up after the break.